And we are live. So, this is again, welcome back to 500 Miles. I am here and welcome again. This week though, I am joined by a different co-host. This is take it away.
This is Joseph Landy-Pavlon. Thanks for having me, Adam.
Yep. So, for those of you unfamiliar, Brody unfortunately could not be on tonight, so I got another guy here with me. So, as for how me and Joe got together, the two of us had been working together at Rubbin's Racing News, owned by Chris Osborne, and then we both later ended up we both have also ended up at Seriously Fast Motorsports as well. So we both have been working together for about 2-ish years now, I want to say. So we both have definitely gotten to know each other pretty well. So this week, big week in racing again, with Pocono wrapping up and Atlanta coming up. A lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah. From the in-season tournament, which is new for NASCAR, to Lime Rock Park, headlining the Truck Series and Arkham and Art Series race weekend. We got a lot coming up in terms of endurance racing. There's the 24 Hours of Spa and some other events going on around the globe. But NASCAR was incredible this past weekend, and I think Atlanta is going to be a treat for fans to watch. 40 cars on the entry list.
Yeah. For Pocono this past weekend, I mean, as we all know, Chase Briscoe took his first win of the season, first for Joe Gibbs Racing. He was able to pull it off. Thought it was an I'll give it about a half, like so 6 out of 10, maybe 5.5 out of 10. I mean, wasn't really one of the best races of the year. But it's also Pocono. I mean, it's kind of just because Pocono has always been a track kind of hard to pass. But Briscoe ends up getting it done. Really impressive fuel saving job by him after we didn't even know he could make it.
Oh, absolutely. Briscoe was on the edge, just probably one extra lap away from running out. I'm surprised he was able to do some burnouts at the end of it because he had to consume so much fuel towards those closing laps and had to charge from the two defending winners from this track, Denny Hamlin, who won here a couple years ago and 6 other times, and Ryan Blaney, who won last year. They were really just ready to pounce, ready for that
Yeah,
19 car to shake up. And Chase Briscoe remained stoic and hung on towards the end. A very deserving victory for that Bass Pro Shops team.
yeah, definitely. And it also shakes up the playoffs. So I know Briscoe was I'm pretty sure in on points anyway, but it does shake things up a bit, especially with the amount of winners we got on the year. Now, there were some conversations as well regarding the race itself. Like I know there was there was some talk about clean air a lot, like clean air being king, especially at a track like Pocono where it's never really been easy to pass. I mean, but again, like I will admit it did seem a little concerning that considering Briscoe was fuel saving and then but yet Denny Hamlin or Ryan Blaney couldn't really get around him. I mean, I'm not going to say it was impossible to pass because we did see Chris Buescher overtake Chase Elliott for fourth right before the end of the race. And then we also had what's his name, Brad Keselowski, guys like him, William Byron, Kyle Larson. They would always charge through the field because they had really good cars. And speaking of Brad Keselowski, I mean, he ended up coming back to finish top 10 after a wild day he had. Like he was leading for a while, and then what the heck happened? Like he tries he the pit road's closed and he goes in anyway. Like I don't know what was going on there. Like that's a big
I
mistake.
Yeah, it's a big mistake, but maybe he was running low on fuel and that was their only choice. Nonetheless, it did cost them a lot of time and track position, and somehow Brad was able to make it up. He is a former winner at Pocono, won this race in 2011 with a broken foot following a crazy crash he had in testing at Road Atlanta back in
Yeah.
the 2011 season. So I think that Brad was calm under pressure. Yet the team probably called him in at a bad time,
Yeah.
but RFK Racing really showed that they had speed and maybe not shown directly through Pocono, but for the races to come, this is pretty exciting for them.
Well, even then, I mean, all three for the second time this year, I'm pretty sure all three RFK cars finished in the top 10. Last time that happened, I think was it Charlotte? Was it Nashville? It was one. It was one of the prime races. It was one of
Yes,
them. It was either Charlotte or Nashville. I think I could be wrong. May have been
I
Michigan.
it might have been that race too because it seems like the RFK cars have a really good speed on
Started.
those tracks.
They've started to pick things up again because Brad finally has cracked the top 30 in points. Finally, I mean, he's finally in the top he's finally in the top 30 in points because he's had some really bad luck. I mean, he fell as low as I think it was 34th in points, right? Like he was as low
it
as
was
30. He was
it
as
was
low as
33rd twice. Round two, round four, and again round 12 at Kansas, and he finally made it above the top 30 in points. I believe it was a technical violation that sent him back, was it?
I think. But this week, I mean, RFK, they really showed. Busher, I know, is battling for the lead with Hamlin as well. I know, as I mentioned, one of the issues that a lot of drivers I know had kind of addressed and were kind of upset about. Chase Elliott talked about it post race. Kyle Larson kind of hinted at it on the radios, if I'm not mistaken. Denny Hamlin explained it yesterday over on Actions Detrimental. There was talk about how hard it was to pass with, especially and kind of some of the complaints we've heard about earlier in the year regarding the next gen car, which I mean, in all fairness, I mean dirty air was an issue all weekend, but I know the drivers have had an issue with dirty air in the car like pretty much since the start of the car, I think. I mean, it's gotten better at some tracks for sure, but still some things that I know the drivers were upset about. It hasn't really been as apparent at Pocono in the next gen until this year, I feel. Like I remember the past few years it felt easier to pass. But as the teams figure out the cars more, like the car has not changed on the intermediates, and I mean that's why you got to. I feel it would be nice to see a change or two. It doesn't have to be a big change, but if you can make this change or that change, like you really can get something to happen. Like I
Yeah.
think the issue is mostly with the underbody. That's the issue that a lot of people seem to point at because that's air down there. But at the same time, I want to. I know it's something you can't really fix because Bozy. I love that guy by the way. Really great guy.
Oh yeah, he's super good for the sport.
And like I think that with him, we really need guys like him, who know about the technical things because he can explain what can happen and how these cars work. So like he was kind of also explaining how uh like you can't really take it off the cars or else they're impossible to even drive. So like that's why it helps quell out all of the keyboard warriors who don't know a thing about the cars
Exactly.
and are like, oh, this has to happen. I don't know why Herbert's calling me in the middle of a podcast, but what I find it, yeah, yeah, he's trying to call me in the middle of a podcast. But what I find interesting about that is that there were also some other moments, like Carson. I want to mention Carson Hocevar again. Like that save he made off of three, that was probably
With
one of the greatest saves we've seen in the next gen car by far.
Yeah, Carson Hocevar, if he's done anything this year, it's been making noise. He's made a lot of noise within the last week. I'll give him that. But wow, that save off of the final corner in the next gen car. I mean, I'm a gamer. If you know me, you probably see all my Enter 2003 races that I run. Pocono is not one of my favorite tracks. I'll just be honest. I'm good through 1 and 2. Turn 3, I hate turn 3. I hate everything about turn 3. I wish it didn't exist. I wish it was just like 1 and 2. Turn 3, the car gets light. It's a very difficult corner to get through. And when you come out of that corner, your car it's free. It wants to go left, and it's on you to save it and keep it straight with a throttle all all the time, whether you're in good tires or worn tires. And with what Carson Hocevar was able to do, it proves once again that he has so much talent inside him, and there. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah,
He was just
and
very impressive last week.
you got to also consider that he's you got to also consider that he's really been working really hard. I mean, he's been making noise like almost every race this year. Like me and Brody would always mention Carson Hocevar in like almost every episode this year so far we've done. So it's really been making noise. He has been, and I mean, I was also interested in how he was going to race Ricky Stenhouse. I mean, it seemed like he didn't really want to deal with him when the two of them got close to each other on the track.
No, but I will give Carson Hocevar a lot of credit because he had two poor races from Michigan 29th and Mexico City 34th. Since that second place running at Nashville, it hasn't gone well for him. And with his 18th place finish, he's back in the top 20 in points. In fact,
Oh, did you
it
cut
has
out?
been a rough
Oh, there you go.
Texas and Kansas and Charlotte. He was outside the top 20. So maybe this is a turnaround for him. Getting a top 20. Sometimes you just have to have races where you're not, making noise, as you say, or sometimes you could just run consistently and it moves you up the point standings. And that's what's going to matter when we get closer and closer to the playoffs.
Yep. Also, this week we also had the Xfinity series at we also had the Xfinity series at Pocono as well. Connor Zilisch ended up picking up the win. This was his second win of the year, first on an oval, or should I say triangle, in the Xfinity series. And admittedly, kind of felt similar to the Cup race. Wasn't really a lot of passing. I mean, Chase Elliott was running away for a while until, and also Justin Allgaier until the two of them got together on one of the last restarts. It also felt like they were wrecking along that Xfinity race, but I mean, it was a nice battle at the end, though, to at least bring some light to that race, especially with Jesse Love trying to hold off Connor Zilisch. Zilisch fighting, fighting to get around, ends up getting it done. Do you think it's also now time for Suarez to be worried? Uh,
I think so, absolutely. If Trackhouse signed Connor Zilisch on, and with what Connor was able to do, forget this year, to win on his debut in an Xfinity Series car last year at Watkins Glen, get some of the regulars in Xfinity, the way he did that is, I'm still impressed by that performance from last September. But from this year, and even just with what he's done outside of NASCAR, winning in the LMP2 class at Daytona and Sebring in the same year, along with some other races, he is
yeah,
Cup Series material. There is no question about that. Connor Zilisch, the maturity he has, and not to mention how open-minded he is to taking on any kind of challenge. This is a kid that we'll be talking about 5, 10, 15, probably 20 plus years from now. And we're
absolutely.
just getting started.
And
I think
maybe even
Suarez should be
25.
worried.
But at
Yeah.
the same time, though, this also depends on what Justin Marks wants to do. Like, does he want Zilisch to have another year in Xfinity, or does he want Zilisch to have another year in Xfinity, or does he want to bring him up already? Personally, I don't want him to make the same mistake he made with SVG. I know SVG did just win at Mexico City. I just feel he should have had another year in Xfinity, which and then you could have had like I don't know Zane Smith perhaps in that ride instead for a year. Like it's just something to consider. Like I think though it's definitely something that we'll probably keep an eye on. I mean, if Zilish wins more of these ovals, like maybe like that could shake things up a lot. And in terms of silly season, which is expected to be really quiet this year. But we also had the truck race this weekend. Over in the trucks, we had another dominant performance by Corey Heim, unfortunately, not go his way at the end.
You know what's amazing is that Corey Heim, despite the adverse ending to this race, he is still almost 105 points in front of the next guy in the championship, which is Chandler Smith in the
Chandler
regular season.
Smith.
I mean, this guy, Corey Heim, has won 4 times this year, and if you want to count the races that he should have won as well, he probably would have had maybe 8 wins in the bag
Yeah,
already.
it's possible he could have won every race except for one because there was only like one or two races where like he was not leading at all. I think Atlanta was one of them, and there may have been one more. I don't remember. But
Right. And Homestead,
Heim,
I was there. He was dominating that race too, and it looked like he had a vibration problem. Lost the lead. Still finished third. but ended up being Kyle Larson going to victory lane.
Yeah,
That's
and
another race that
there were some other notable entrants as well that I remember. I mean, Carson Hocevar was pulling double duty, and I know he and Lane Riggs ended up battling at the end, but then Hocevar jumps the restart, gets the black flag. Uh, thing is, though, there was a little bit of confusion over who was the control truck at the end of that race. Like there was a lot of confusion there. Like I don't know exactly what they were like. Like they were all like, "Who's the control truck? Is it me? Is it him?" Like only I think they talked about this on Door Bumper Clear yesterday. They were kind of saying how Tyler Green knew who was in front, and he was like the only one who knew it was in front because he's a veteran spotter. He's been spotting for a really long time, and he kind of figured out, oh, I think the 34 is actually the control car. I think he was a host of our spotter, Tyler Green. I could be wrong. And I remember Brian Patty. He was really fed up after Hocevar was black flagged for jumping the restart, but still, it was Lane Riggs who was the control truck. Ended up
right,
holding off to win, and finally gets his first win of the year because I know he's had some close ones as well this year that unfortunately he wasn't able to pick up. Like I know Kansas, he was battling Carson Hocevar coincidentally again. Unfortunately, goes the way, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway because he got disqualified that race.
right. But
And
it still
then
shows that he was performing absolutely well in that event.
and then at North Wilkesboro, he had a chance to win. Ends up wrecking Corey Heim and almost himself again.
Yeah,
And I mean, just hope the momentum continues for him and he can clean up his act as well in the track. Same with Hostbar. But Lane Riggs, I mean, he's been doing so much better than last year. So I'm really happy for him. Like I just hope that his luck and driving ability continue to improve as well. Because Lane Riggs is another guy that we're going to probably be talking about for a long time, along with Corey Heim, obviously, who
oh, without
should
a
be in
doubt.
Cup, but that's for another day. But we also had the ARCA series. They ran at Elko this week. We know they usually have gone to Pocono in the past, but for the past few years they have not. But at Elko this week, it ended up being the Max Reeves show, who won in only his second career start in the main series. Should keep in mind he's won 3 times in East, but this is only his second career start in Maine. Picks up the win. It was a close battle at the end. I remember Butterbean was dominating for a while. LeVar Scott got a chance to potentially get redemption from last year after losing to Sawalich by only uh, a hundredth of a second in
Probably
that
a
phone.
hairline.
Yeah, something like that probably. But
Couldn't script that finish. What? I mean, I still get chills from that race last year. But LeVar Scott, apparently something went wrong with his car.
yeah, he had
Um,
mechanical issues. That's why he fell. That's why he started to fall back. He ended up being a lap down as well by the end of the race. So unfortunately for him, it didn't end up going the way that he was hoping to. But you know, is what it is.
well,
I just hope that in the future LeVar will be able to finally get that win because he's been fighting real hard for it for so long.
yeah, and he's been in this business for like this is his second full time season, third in total, and he's led almost 200 laps in his ARCA career. Actually, probably over 215, 220 laps if you want to count that in the East Series, and he hasn't even
Yeah,
found a victory lane yet in an ARCA car. I think it's criminal. He is such a great driver, but he just, I mean, look at Andres Perez de Lara. He, he same situation. It seems like, the whoever gets put in the 18 car, it's like Joe Gibbs has blessed you to victory lane. Don't
yeah,
mess it up.
yeah. I mean, there was an interesting Victory Lane interview as well I saw from Reeves where he was like saying, "Oh, I gave them a shot or to make them feel good or something, or it was something like that." Definitely an interesting interview. I don't think guys like Butterbean were gonna like that or LeVar, but curious to see what happens in the next few races he has. I don't know when his next race is, but I think he's got only a few more in the main series. But we'll see about that. So also this week, also in that race, it was really hot as well there. Like I'm
Oh, it was
yeah, like
like
a lot of
super slick.
drivers I know were complaining about heat exhaustion. Like I know Dale Shearer pulled off early because of Dale Shearer, I know, pulled off
Becca
early.
Monopoly also
Yeah,
exited the race because of heat exhaustion.
yeah. the driver of the seven, Caden Davenport. I know she pulled off early as well. She spun earlier, but and she did keep going. She then got back in the race later, but it was too much for her. I know Brian Clubb, he pulled off as well because of the heat. Like a lot of guys were unfortunately having trouble with the heat, which is a shame. I mean, I noticed also the Fox broadcast made a few errors. Like they mentioned that Tony Mussolino, who drove the 10 car, got out and was replaced by Matt Kemp. That actually never happened. He stayed in the car for the whole race.
That's right. He never exited the race. In fact, Matt Kemp um, started parked after 15 laps
Yeah,
in the Hillenberg car.
he was in the number 9 car. And then there was also what's his name? There was also some interesting moments as well earlier in the race. Like with the '03 of Alex Clubb, and there was an interview that went pretty viral with Alex Clubb post race. Like he was especially upset with guys like the 10, 11. Although he has, I'm pretty sure since I think he has apologized to both of those two teams about how he was raced, but he was mostly upset at the 31 of Quinn Davis, if I'm not mistaken. Like a lot of people were apparently upset about her driving. I mean, she's a nice, very nice kid. I mean, she had a pretty decent debut at Nashville in the E Series, but tonight it seemed like she was getting into not tonight, but on Saturday it seemed like she was getting into people. Like I don't know what was going on. I mean, but I know Alex had a moment where like she held him up and it ended up like damaging the nose, I think, of the car, and
Yeah, it was a costly repair
and
bill that went his way because of that.
and Alex would mention that in that interview, he probably would have only finished like 4 laps down, but he was especially mad over all the rich kids and that were hitting him, and he was especially mad at the 31 team, which I know he's there's been a feud there going for a few years now, but that's something for another day. But I mean, I just kind of wish that I kind of wish that things didn't go bad there because he was finally having a good run.
He was impressive. I'm still, you know,
Ra-
impressed by his driving. If anything, Alex Clubb has really turned the dial lately on his short track cars, and I'm just excited to see what the next race will look like. IRP is what, a couple of races away,
well,
I think.
There's also Dover in the middle of that, but that's also kind of an intermediate if you think about it.
Yeah, it's more like Kansas or some of the other races, but I think IRP would be a good one for him. But
Yeah,
nonetheless, great driving for him, and it's unfortunate that he fell back the way he did,
but you
but
know.
still enough for a top 10.
He still finished top 10. Willie Mullins also got a top 10 as well.
Yes, he
Nice.
did.
It was nice to see him two in a row because he had top 10 Berlin and then Elko after that. So we also had IndyCar this weekend at Road America, and what was definitely an interesting race. I mean, especially because everyone ran out of fuel at the end. Like on the last lap, after Palou took the checkered flag to win his 6th race out of 9 this year, like he's gonna definitely three-peat. Like I don't think
It's a sure championship at this point. I don't. I mean, it's if he falls apart, it will be the biggest collapse in IndyCar history. But Alex Palou, I'll tell you, every year that he runs in IndyCar, he continuously impresses me more and more and more. If it wasn't for second at Long Beach, he would have won the first 6 races in a row.
yes,
Um,
and
and not to mention the Honda program entirely, for all the rumors that are coming out that they're not happy with IndyCar, they're certainly doing a fantastic job at um at their craft, winning every single race between 2 drivers this year. What can get better than that?
yeah, and we also had there were also there was also something going on after the race with drivers with heat as well. Like Santino Ferrucci, I remember he got a fan to throw a water bottle at him. Uh,
It's a little more
from
than just a water bottle at him. It
oh
was
it
a
was
can of beer.
oh it was a beer can. That's right.
Hey, chugged a beer can after the race on the first
Yeah,
straightaway.
yeah. So I was like, oh my god. And then apparently, weren't they looking over the car? Like I saw something where they apparently took down the results temporarily. Like I don't know if his car failed inspection or if something's gonna happen, but I mean it wouldn't be a good look because AJ Foyt they've been caught cheating already this year. They got caught cheating at Detroit, and Ferrucci still kept his second place finish there, but
Yes, he did.
he was still penalized a race worth of points, considering that the field is now 27. So, like, he was penalized like 25 points, I want to say. So that's still a race worth amount of points
Right.
gone down the
It
drain
it
for
sent him
him.
back to ninth in the standings after losing 25 points. But I will have to say that he has been very impressive lately, and it seems like the summer stretch is really good for Ferrucci. Once we get to that Indy 500, that's where he always seems to excel. And then the races that fall,
Yeah.
when Ferrucci succeeds, every race that follows is a good one for him.
I'm
So
kind of
I'm not
ups
surprised at all by this performance at
I'm
all.
kind of
He's
upset though about Connor Daly because Daly has been running a really great season this year, probably his best in a long time as a driver. And unfortunately, when it looked like Daly was putting up another really great run, something just went wrong, and I feel really bad because he's been impressive for Juncos Hollander this year, especially considering that their equipment is not one of the best on the grid. So like I feel pretty bad for Connor Daly because he was running really well before. I don't remember what happened. Wasn't it like a
Gateway was incredible, just
yeah,
from what I've seen. That was might have been his best, probably the best drive of his entire career up to this point.
Indy 500
Um,
too this
Indy
year.
was incredible,
But yeah,
but we got more ovals on the way, so
yeah,
I wouldn't.
yeah. And then there were a few and then it seemed like things went wrong again for Penske this week in the IndyCar side of things. Like things just didn't really go their way again. Like I don't remember what it was, but I think Newgarden had like a tire go down or something.
Yeah, Newgarden had a problem, and it affected him pretty badly.
And then
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch the full race. I was actually out on Sunday in Fort Lauderdale for
oh
the
yeah,
Florida Panthers Stanley Cup Championship parade, so I didn't get
yeah,
to catch it live. But Team Penske seems like they're just hitting all sorts of karma since the events of the Indy 500 scandal
yeah,
that happened with the whole rear attenuator situation.
yeah.
Um,
And a lot of their personnel was also fired as well
Including Tim
following that.
Cindric.
So I think that's possibly what's could possibly one of the things that could have hurt them for this year. And then I think Will Power also had an issue. I mean, I think McLaughlin, like all three of them have not been having the best of luck as of late. And it's something that's going to be very interesting. As I don't remember what is the next race. Iowa. I think
We're going to Mid
it's
Ohio
Mid
for
Ohio
the next
next.
round.
It's Mid Ohio
Yep.
next. That's right. So I'm curious what happens there. Back to the NASCAR side of things. I'm kind of disappointed. Like what? And I know Eric Estep was talking about this too. I'm disappointed in Kyle Busch as of late. Like I know Richard Childress Racing has regressed a lot in the past few years, but I really have been disappointed with Kyle Busch's driving, and even with those circumstances, because every time now it seems like he just wrecks out or something of his fault happens. Like at Pocono, going into the tunnel turn, I don't remember who it was that he spun off of, but he spins off of him and causes a big wreck with Ty Dillon, Shane Van Gisbergen, Christopher Bell, Gregson. There was a really amazing wreck avoidance though from Cody Ware in that wreck, and
Yes, there was.
like I was really impressed with the driving that he was able to get to do to get around that wreck because I thought he was going to be involved in that from the looks of it. And then I know also there was the issues with the with 2311 again this week. They had issues with their brakes. They kept failing, and then Riley Herbst first took a really hard hit. Then Bubba Wallace took a really hard hit, and then Tyler Reddick's team they were starting to diagnose issues that could have been the same thing, the brake rotors, and there were debris on the track from them, and and it wasn't just them. Spire had an issue too, Michael McDowell. So like, considering that it mostly was with 2311, like it seems like that something was going on with what they were with their setups. When you think about it, like it seemed
Oh
like
yeah.
something was going on with their setups this week. So and it's concerning because Bubba Wallace is now slotted 15th in the points. Uh, in the playoff grid. He's only ahead of Alex Bowman now, and Bubba was previously slotted like 10th using the playoff system. So I think so. I'm concerned. I hope that Bubba can turn things around because I really hope that he makes the playoffs again this year because
Oh yeah,
he
and
speed wise he's turned things around so much this year.
oh, he
Which
has. He's super fast. In qualifying, he always seems to be a threat for a pole or a top five starting spot.
yeah,
But in the race is where things are a bit of a struggle.
yeah, and I think what's really helped him with finishes this year, and I mean, his luck has been really bad. Like someone either wrecks him or he has some sort of issue, and like I feel bad because he's shown so much more speed this year, which, as me and Brody have said multiple times, it comes down to their new crew chief Charleston Nike, who 2311 was able to pick up, and he's done such an incredible job on the pit box this year. And Reddick, if you and I feel bad for Tyler Reddick this year because the regular season champion from last year is now like 10th in points, I think, this year. Something like that.
And who won the regular season title last year? Was it Larson?
Reddick. Reddick
Oh,
won
Reddick.
by 1 point. 1 point over Kyle Larson last year.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
So
it's been a while.
it's been
Yeah,
a
Reddick is currently he's 13th in the playoff standings, 107 points above the cut line. But the problem here, we got a big problem here, is that we have less amount of drivers that haven't won in the playoffs than we do of the amount of races left in the regular season. And you're
yeah,
telling me that the playoff grid isn't going to thin anytime soon? We have Atlanta this weekend, and
yeah.
then the weekend after we're going on the street course of Chicago. Sonoma's coming up, Dover, Indy, Iowa, Watkins Glen,
Watkins Glen,
Iowa, a track we only had one race at.
Richmond.
Watkins Glen, Richmond, and Daytona at the very end. So
Yeah,
this is far from over. I would be worried if I even have one win.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean,
but
would I even want to guarantee that SVG is even safe in all honesty at this point? Would I even want to guarantee that? Because there's plenty of guys in the field that really could have a chance to win. Like, and because we're going to Atlanta this week, who's won at Atlanta before? Daniel Suarez, and he almost swept the races. So if Suarez wins this week, if I'm SVG, I'd be worried because that's kind of, and then we go to Chicago. You know who else is really good on these road courses? AJ Allmendinger.
AJ
Like,
Allmendinger.
like, like if he wins, that's gonna cause some worries as well. Like, so it's just something that we got to really think about as we get closer. And I know there was also some, and I know with Reddick, he did end up getting back on track. I think he was trying to get the fastest lap. I don't remember who got it, but I know also. I think it was something happened towards the end of the race with Chastain. Like I noticed he was falling back a lot. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened, but it definitely costed him big time because he fell out of the top 20, coming up 26. Very good early race car, but
Yeah,
sometimes things just don't go your way.
and Chastain was moving up like throughout the race, so like I don't know what happened. And then but Trackhouse this week, we'll see how these three cars can work together at Atlanta. And with Atlanta coming in, we also have the beginning of the in-season tournament. Now, I have not made my bracket yet, but I'm curious as to what they're going to look like. I wanted to do it live, but I would have had to
You
use
can.
paper.
You can go on NASCAR.com right
I
now. You don't even have to make an account and just
I
do it.
I know, but then that ruins the whole window capture, so I can't really do it right now. But I
Right.
will be
I
make
actually made my bracket if you want me to go
who
into detail.
who did you have winning?
Okay, and okay, good. The page is still up. So uh, each race is considered a round in the in-season tournament. For those who are still unfamiliar, like I am myself, and this might impact on how they race. I don't.
Yes.
People have been asking that question. I don't know if that's really going to be the case. I mean, if I'm last time I checked, you don't get a points advantage, do you?
No,
Or
it's only you get $1 million
it's just
dollars
just
if you win.
just $1 million. So
If you
it's basically monetary.
Yeah, and
Um.
which I think the drivers are still going to consider. I mean, but
Oh yeah, and it's good morale boost.
what's interesting though is that Chase Elliott the other day in a press conference was like, "Oh, I didn't know you got $1 million," but I'm like, it'd be nice to have it. I mean, I saw that in a press conference, and I'm like, all right, we'll see what happens. And I mean, the rounds are kind of interesting. Like I know this, and I know the seeding was something that was debated for a few weeks, but it's not. But you can kind of see how some of the seeds are going to play
Yep.
out here. Like for
So
example, seed 1 goes against seed 32, seed 31 against seed 2. Like definitely something that we'll have to keep an eye out on because there's going
yeah,
to be some interesting battles, and I hope TNT covers it throughout the field because
I hope they do.
it's going to be
Just
fun.
something, yeah, it'll be fun and it's somewhat of a novelty. I kind of like it, but I wanted to go into the rounds for a minute, just into details, and maybe this could, add to the fun of it. Who's versing who?
Yeah.
Which driver is pinned against the other, and it's it's such a wild card thing. I don't believe anybody's gonna have a perfect bracket. I certainly
No.
don't think I will.
Like
If
you'd
you
have to
believe
win
you're
the
gonna have
lottery.
a perfect bracket, you just stop what you're doing and go to the lottery because you have a better chance of winning that than getting a perfect bracket in this.
Yeah.
Um, but how about we go ahead and take a look at who's going up against who?
So I
So,
know Denny Hamlin against Ty Dillon is one.
yep, that's matchup one. Then you have Kyle Busch against Brett Keselowski, a little closer. Alex Bowman, Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez, John Hunter Nemechek, who's been really good lately in these last few races, and Josh Berry, Chase Elliott and Austin Dillon, Ross Chastain, Eric Jones, Christopher Bell versus Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Chase Briscoe, your defending winner of the NASCAR Cup Series, and Noah Gragson, who I believe has never finished a race with a running car at Atlanta yet. I could be wrong.
I don't think so.
Ryan Preece and William Byron, Ryan Blaney and Carson Hocevar, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick. Now that's an interesting one. Michael McDowell and AJ Allmendinger, one for the former champ car drivers.
Yep.
Ty Gibbs, Justin Haley, Zane Smith, Austin Cindric, and two more Fords to finish this up with Chris Buescher and Todd Gilliland.
So it's definitely going to be a fun matchups all around, and I don't think
I'm not
anyone's
giving
gonna.
away my predictions.
Do you have? Well, who is your bracket winner though? When you did it, I haven't done mine
He's the
yet.
same guy that won the Brickyard 400 last week,
Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson.
Yep. Yeah, that should be. We'll see what happens with that. I mean, I think he's definitely got a good shot at it. So, also as part of the tournament, it goes from 32 to 16 to 8 to 4 to 2, and then they go against each other, and whoever is higher wins. So Atlanta's round of 32. Then we go to uh, Chicago, where it'll be 16, then 8 at Sonoma, 4 at Dover, and then just the last 2 at Indianapolis. So a lot of stakes are going to be on the table. At Indianapolis, they're definitely going to be covering who's going against who, especially at Indianapolis with the final 2 to take that $1 million. So they're going to cover it a lot. And I think it definitely is something fun that the fans should definitely be checking out. I mean, I know there's been a lot of boomer complaints about it as of late, but it's something that I'm interested in, and I'm curious how TNT's gonna broadcast because I know they got the same booth, but there's a lot of different personnel across the board for TNT. So I'm interested in how they're gonna broadcast things. I mean, they're not producing it the same way as Amazon is, and I mean there has been promotion. I mean TNT has advertised it in basketball games. They have run some TNT has run some ads during the Amazon broadcast as well and the CW broadcast. So I'm interested in how they're going to do this. I mean, this is the first time TNT has broadcasted a NASCAR race since 2014. So I'm
Yep, it's been a
excited.
while.
And also
I am
just
super excited.
as a courtesy to Amazon, they did a really great job for their first year. Like they really presented NASCAR in the way it should. So I really just for I mean, for the record, just again congratulate Amazon for a
Yeah,
successful great first year. And
I had to say, sorry to cut you out there, Adam.
yeah,
Amazon Prime did a fantastic job covering NASCAR, and it was so refreshing. As a NASCAR fan, a racing fan for so many years, it was so refreshing to see a carrier care so much about NASCAR and treat NASCAR and stock car racing with so much respect that Amazon Prime did. And it was just that was the energy. This is the kind of energy that NASCAR broadcasts need. I hope that Fox and NBC can learn a bit from what Prime did. But the momentum's only going to carry on over to TNT. Turner Sports are going to, I mean, they have, from what I was told, the vast majority of people, even from the production team, are pretty much working hand in hand with Prime. So my hopes are high, but
There are some different pit reporters and different hosts and all, I'm pretty sure. Like
yeah,
I don't know if there's are they still doing the post race show? I don't think they are.
I don't think they'll be able to because of the time slots and other
Yeah,
sports that they
cuz
have.
yeah, cuz TNT is a network, not a streaming service. You got to think about that.
Right.
So I'm curious as well as to what we're going to see with that because I'm excited for TNT. I hope we get the TNT song by AC/DC again in the intro. I really hope we get that again, but we'll have to find out on Sunday. Uh,
Hmm.
Not Sunday, Saturday, because not
Right.
Xfinity. The
Saturday night
Cup.
race. We haven't had one in a while.
Yeah, so I'm happy we got Saturday night racing again, and there's going to be more of them this year. Richmond is Saturday night this year. I liked that decision. Daytona Saturday night, Bristol night race. There's more Saturday night racing this year. It's what the fans have wanted, so I'm glad there's more of it this year. And then also, when looking at the entry lists, we also have there's actually 41 listed for the Cup Series. This
41.
it could be an error, but on the Cup entry list we have the 01, and we're not going to mention the open cars. Like, well, we are mentioning the open cars, not the full-time charter cars. We already have the 01 of Corey LaJoy, who's running his first race since Bristol. So nice to see him racing again. We also have the 78 of BJ McLeod. He's sporting the Pigeon Racing, the Pigeon Valley or whatever that Pigeon Forge coaster colors again, which by the way just opened. So if you're out down in the Eastern Tennessee area, go ride it. Check it out. Probably a lot of fun. And then there's also the 87 of Connor Zilish in the Red Bull colors again. He'll also be driving that car at Watkins Glen later this year. And then there's also the 66 of David Starr. Nice to see him racing again. And David, he has a lot of experience on the plate tracks. I mean, remember, he finished top 10, I think, last year at Talladega in the Xfinity Series. So he's still got stuff left in him at age 57. So I'm curious. I know David's driving for the 66, but maybe he'll be able to draft with the pack, and like knowing David's super speedway experience, which has been pretty good. And then on the entry list, I don't know if they're still going to be running or not. I've heard conflicting reports about this. Is the 44 of JJ Yaley? They are on the NASCAR website entry list and the app. So I don't know if they're still going to be running or not. The 44 that is, but because I've heard from some they might be withdrawing. The list that J Ski had did not have them either, so I don't know exactly what's going on there. If I'm gonna have to make a DNQ pick, it's probably gonna be between either the 44 or the 66. The 66 apparently has a lease motor though this week. So maybe the 66 will have more of an edge over the 44 of Yaley. So we'll see what happens. Because I know it's something that MBM really tries to prioritize, especially on these plate tracks, because it helps them make the field better. They were able to make the Xfinity field with Mason Maggio back at Talladega, if you remember. So
Oh yeah.
there was also what was I going to say? Xfinity, they only have 38 cars this week, which means all will make the field. There were some interesting entries. I remember Eric Almirola, I know, is back in the 19. So nice to see Eric Almirola entered. Just checking on this. So I'm really excited to see how Almirola will do this week. There's also what was I going to say? Who else was entered? Patrick Staropoli in the 24 again. Nice to see Dr. Staropoli entered again. And then for his second Xfinity race of the year, I remember he finished like top 15, I think, at Martinsville, if I'm correct, in his debut. So that was interesting. He actually finished ahead of the guy who people thought was going to finish ahead of him in that race, being Corey Day. So that made it
Yeah.
interesting. Trying to think of some of the other entries off the top of my head. Nick Lights back in the '07. Garrett Smithley also in the 14 again. The 35 is Joey Gase again. 53, Mace Maggio again. Uh, no 74 this week, unfortunately. Probably because of the likelihood of making the race. CJ McLaughlin, he's back in the 91 again. He ran this race in the spring. Unfortunately, got caught up in a wreck. I remember. Uh, Trying to think of some of the other entrants off the top of my head. There's a few other notables, I think. Catherine Legg, another race for her in the 32 for Jordan Anderson Racing. So I'm curious to see how she'll do at Atlanta. Now, who else? Who else has entered? That's notable. Like
Garrett
amongst,
Smithley is back in
yeah,
the
yeah.
14.
He was in the 14 at Pocono, but I know he did miss Nashville as well because of sponsorship. Uh, Trying to think. I don't think anyone else is listed as TBA or anyone else is. Am I missing any? Oh, Massey in the 45 again. He's
Yep.
entered. Uh, this was not a scheduled race for him, but it looks his next race was supposed to be Dover, but it looks like he has another race that he'll get to run. This is his home
Him and
track as
Honeyman
well.
back on the 70.
Yep, Honeyman in the 70. Some of the other notable, another one of the nobles there. Trucks, and then we also have Lime Rock this coming weekend, which I'm gonna be at. I'm gonna be at all three races at Lime Rock. There's actually three races. The historic sports car series, which is like vintage stock cars, they are also going to be competing at Lime Rock earlier in the day as well. So I'm interested to see how those guys do out there. Should be a lot of fun. Uh, on the truck entry list, there's a bunch of ringers in the field. We had 35 entered. Unfortunately, that has dropped down to 34 with the withdrawal of Norm Benning in the six truck. But still some interesting entrants and guys and some of the notables are guys who I think can even compete for the win. Like, for example, take Brett Cruz, who's in the one truck this week. This is, I think, only his second career truck series start. And he ran top five in his first ever start back at North Wilkesboro. Unfortunately, got caught up in a wreck at the end with Ben Rhodes, but he's in the one truck this week. The 02 truck is currently TBA. I'm curious. I imagine Young's is going to put another road ringer in that truck.
Definitely they would.
Yeah,
Um, we got some other good entries. Welcome back, Cameron Waters,
yeah,
who has 18 career wins in the Australian V8 Supercars Championship, a regular for Tipcar Racing and the Monster Energy number 6, is back in the Craftsman Truck Series this weekend driving for Thor Sport Racing. He's
yep,
got Treddy on board with him. That's a guy I've been looking forward to. Homer Racing is expanding to 2 entries. The 62 truck of GT3 driver Wesley Slimp will
yep.
be
Who
behind the wheel of
has
that car.
and I was reading about this when doing some research for an article for Tom that I was doing some research about him. He apparently might be the first ever driver with mitochondrial disease to race in NASCAR because I tried researching to see if anyone else in the sport has ever had that condition. He might be the first ever uh, to race with it. So if that's the case, then that's a big landmark when you
Big deal.
think about it. And then also what's his name?
We got 2 guys. They're teammates. We haven't even mentioned them yet. Got to save the best for last. Jordan Taylor and Thomas Annunziata.
Oh yeah, those are two big ones. There's actually two more. Uh, Alex LeBay. I don't think he's ever ran a truck race. He's running in the 22 truck for Rayome, and then the two is a guy named William Lambros who's ran in like Skip Barber and ran in the Skip Barber Racing School. He's in the two truck for Rayome this week. So I'm curious as to what's going to come out of that. I mean, should be some good runs hopefully there, considering the Road Ringer program they got. Uh, Also, a team that we have not seen in a decade, I think now, Dale Quarterly with NDS Motorsports. Now, I could be wrong. I think it is Dale's equipment, but NDS Motorsports has not run in NASCAR, as far as I know, since I want to say 2015, 2014, sometime around then. Owned by Robert Poirier. They are running the 32, and there's a notable name on the pit box as the crew chief, Shane Wilson, who has previously, I think, been a crew chief for Rackley War, I think, for that team,
Yes.
and also and was I think he was with Matt Crafton as well for a while too, right?
Yeah, I think he did a stint with him. I could be wrong.
So notable name
He's
as
not
well.
unfamiliar at all
Yep.
for the
So
truck series.
not definitely a name very familiar on the entry list uh, Shane Wilson. Nice to see him back in the sport again. And then also Dale. Gotta love that name, Dale Quarterly. Like, really love to see him. The Quarter Man. Love to see him back again in the sport. Uh, so, and he's got more races lined up, which I hope he puts on some good runs there in both the truck and the ARCA. He's pulling double duty this week as well. And with the ARCA and also for the truck race, they're running on Main Fox as well. Uh,
They are.
yeah, this is the last truck race that will be airing on Main Fox, so that definitely should give the race a lot more publicity than a race on FS1 would get. So I hope that people definitely tune in because it's going to be a big race, first ever for the trucks at Lime Rock as well, and I think the first ever truck race in the state of Connecticut as a whole as well. So ARCA also first ever time to go into Lime Rock. The K&N East Series, now the ARCA East has ran at Lime Rock in the past as well as the Whelen Modified Tour. Would have been nice to see that the Modified Tour as well there, but they're running up at White Mountain this week in New Hampshire on the same day as well. I know they have some notable entrants there, like John McKennedy's coming back again. The 2022 Modified Champion will be competing in that race, so nice to see him back. But in the for Lime Rock, we got for the ARCA race. The entry list has not yet dropped, but from what I've been able to gather, there are supposedly 24 cars. I think something like
I
that.
unfortunately have to use Reddit for this until we get the actual entry list, which might come out tomorrow.
The entry,
But
the entry. Some people I know have shared around the order, the entry list order blank. That goes around showing like what team is entered in this time and all. There are some entrants. You have the 19 full-time cars this year in ARCA, then the 70, which Thomas Annunziati's pulling double duty in the
yep,
70. There's also the what's his name? There's also Dale Quarterly who's entering two
yep,
cars. They will be entering the number 3 and the number 4. They did this at Watkins Glen last year too. Uh, there's also the 34 on that list, which is the VWV team. They entered. They are currently competing full time in the ARCA Menard Series East, and then also the 73, which is most likely going to be Andy Jankowiak. Although the team did not say they were running this race, so possible that a sponsor could have come on board to say, "Hey, we wanted you to do this race," or maybe someone else with money came to the team, or could be someone else using the owner points. We'll
Oh,
figure it out when
I
the entry
also
list
forgot to
comes out.
mention Alon Day is on the entry
Oh
list.
yeah, a lot.
That's the
I
driver he's going to drive the 25
for
for Vannery
Venery.
Motorsports.
Yeah, and he's got two more races planned after that: Sonoma in the West Series, and then Watkins Glen again in the Main Series. Oh, one more part-time entrant as well, the 29 of Ryan Jamel, which I believe is Nemco Motorsports again. Uh,
Wow,
they ran at Watkins Glen last year, but definitely nice. Always nice to see Joe Nemechek helping with the team's effort in the sport. You
always.
gotta love Joe Nemechek.
Front
Like,
row Joe.
yeah, front row Joe. I gotta love that. So definitely enjoy seeing Joe Nemechek working in the sport again. And then so I'm gonna be there at the race, so we'll see how that plays out. And gonna actually be my first time at the track as well. I've never been there, but I've heard it's a lot of fun. I know IMSA used to run there for many
Yeah, it used
years,
to be their shortest track on the schedule for a while.
and then I think now Mosport is the shortest on their schedule, or do they still go
Yes,
there?
yeah, IMSA does go to most part. In fact, they're going in a few weeks. The LMP2 class will be the headlining category for that event come July.
At
So,
Mosport. Yeah, so
yep.
I'm curious what's going to happen there. But as for win picks this week, there's a few that I'm thinking about. I kind of have. I don't really know who I have winning the Cup race in Atlanta because that's a bit too hard to pick. But I'm thinking maybe
It's tough.
Carson Host. I think maybe Carson Hocevar is finally going to get it done. I mean, considering he finished second here in the spring, and
If the yellow didn't
Spires.
come out, who would have known? It might have been his race to win right there if the
Well,
yellow flag stayed in the flag stand and we had a
well,
green flag finish. It could have very well been Hosvar or Bell, but we'll
Probably
never know.
for the better. The caution came out because there were guys running into each other, and I remember
Right.
Denny Hamlin shortly
And we just came
after
off that Daytona 500
where
where
they probably
there
should
was
have
no
thrown the
caution.
yellow.
came out at all, and drivers were wondering what the hell was going on around here.
Yeah, because that was not safe in my opinion. I know, like that was not safe when that happened. So
No,
we'll
it
see
wasn't.
what. So I just hope that, and I know they do, and I know that there were some boomers who were upset about the finish at not Atlanta, Talladega in Xfinity with Zilish, but they had to when that happened because that was
Yeah,
extremely dangerous what happened with Zilish there because he took that hard of a hit, like, and thank God he's still running, and the fact that he was on and coming back from that injury to win only about a month later, that's incredible out of Zilish. Like, you got to give him so much credit for that. We also have F1 this weekend returning. They are running at where are they running at?
Austria.
Austria. Yeah, that's right. They're running in Austria this week, so we'll see how that goes again because I know they had the week off this week. Uh, some other things going around. There's been and it's in the title of this video, so we have to talk about it. There's talk about San Diego potentially getting a street race for next year, so I'm curious to see what's going to happen with that. There's been a lot of rumors as to where that race is going to end up. Uh, there's been talk that it's going to replace Chicago or Mexico City, but right now it seems more likely that it would replace the Chicago street race. Although it should be noted, though, that there is still talk about potentially getting the Chicago street race potentially back, but I'm not 100% sure if they're going to go through on that because I don't know exactly what's going on there because there's also the talk about Chicagoland coming back. Hell, Carson Hocevar leaked it on his Twitch stream a while back. I think when he was in Mexico City. So like I, but at the same time, I know Hocevar had also leaked out Rockingham, but Rockingham turned out to not be the Cup Series. So my guess is that Chicagoland could perhaps be like maybe a deal with like Trucks and Arca going back there. Maybe Xfinity if the street race doesn't happen. Like that's what I kind of can picture out of this with if Chicagoland returns because it doesn't seem like based off of what we've heard that there's going to be room for Chicagoland as of now to be in Cup maybe in a few more years. So I'm thinking what could happen is if the Chicago Street Course does stay, maybe the Trucks and Arca go there, something like that, and maybe and
Yeah.
then because I'm
Uh,
and because that's kind of similar to the deal they do with IRP, where the Trucks and Arca go to IRP, Cup Xfinity go to Big Indy. So I could see it being something like that potentially.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think it would add to the weekend experience for those in the Chicago area
yeah,
to have
and it
the
probably would,
trucks.
and I think, and it definitely, and especially for those who like to come out for race weekends, it definitely would be something to definitely consider. So like I think that if they do, in fact, but I think, and I do think they could maybe get Xfinity there potentially if Chicago doesn't happen because like I'm curious what they're gonna do with San Diego, like because are they gonna because you know are they gonna want to send Xfinity or trucks with Cup to San Diego, or are they gonna want Cup alone? Like it's something to think about. Like, but more will come out about it. Like I know Jordan Bianchi reported that they are close to a deal on not Chicago, on
Yep.
San Diego. And the rumor from Dale Earnhardt Jr. he was talking about on some other podcast. The rumor there is that San Diego uh, will potentially be part of Prime's slate next year, with Mexico City moving to another network. I don't know what network. Maybe Fox, TNT, NBC, one of them. Probably my bet would be potentially TNT because I don't know or no. My bet is that TNT may want it because they would be losing the Chicago street race and they may want a prestige race to, fill that spot if Mexico City returns. I hope Mexico City returns. So it's something that, we'll keep an eye on. There's also another rumor that's popped up about the possibility of Milwaukee returning again to NASCAR. Uh, I know that they just left Milwaukee because they were trying to get a date, but IndyCar ended up taking the NASCAR date that the weekend that they had set up. But it looks like they are going to try again for 2026. There was an article from I think like the Milwaukee Herald that was talking about how like the Trek Enterprise guy Bob Sargent wants to get another date at Milwaukee. Probably would be just the trucks and ARCA again if I had to guess there. I mean, there's been another wild rumor of another track potentially coming back, but that me and Joe have heard. But we're gonna keep quiet on that for now. But
Oh yeah.
but I think that Milwaukee, since Milwaukee's been reported, we can definitely talk about that. And Milwaukee had some okay truck races. I know ARCA didn't really play on the best shows at Milwaukee. They are going to Madison instead this year, which that should probably be a fun show. But
Yep.
I want the Milwaukee Mile to thrive. Like they had a really good crowd for IndyCar. I hope they can get a better crowd if the trucks were to go back, or hell, Xfinity. If like I think Xfinity would be cool there. But I know the issue with Milwaukee is that a lot of people who went to the truck races weren't really that happy with the amenities. I don't know if the same thing was
It
with
was really hot. It was scorching hot, like over
yeah.
90 degrees,
I don't know
and
if
there's like no shade in the grandstands. Perhaps a night race would be a good solution to
do
this.
they have lights still at Milwaukee?
I think they do. I don't see.
I'm not sure if they do or
I,
not,
I could be wrong. I have to
but
do my research.
Milwaukee would be a track that would be nice to see for the trucks again. Maybe, but from what my understanding is, they may try to do that same time frame again because NASCAR wanted to go back to Milwaukee. I just don't know what would lose a date in its place. Maybe a. I doubt Lime Rock would go away after 1 year because it seems like they really want that to be a long term event. I mean, Parker Kligerman on an Ask Me Anything was talking about how they want Lime Rock to be around long term for both trucks and ARCA, and they hope to, in the long term, potentially get Xfinity there when Kligerman was on and Ask Me Anything on Reddit. So I think they're going all in on Lime Rock. Depends on how many people also show up this weekend, which seems like they're looking at over 15,000, which wouldn't be terrible for a first. Well, I think what also kind of hurts it is that the track doesn't even have grandstands. Like you got to bring your own seats
Right.
and towels to Lime Rock. So we'll see what comes out of there. Trying to think of some of the other things going on in the sport. Oh, there was also some stuff today regarding the more of the lawsuit with between NASCAR and 2311 and Front Row Motorsports. Uh, there was some more stuff that came out today regarding the what was it called? The because
Uh,
NASCAR wants the teams that are not part of the lawsuit to provide their financial information to perhaps either help their argument or not help their argument. Like they want it either way, I think. So they want them, but the teams do not want to send it to them. They want to send it to a third party source in the lawsuit that would provide it to most likely the judge in the case. So Kenneth Bell, I know, is the presiding judge in this case. There was also an interesting comment he made where he was saying that this thing is out of control, and I'm surprised that the teams are and NASCAR are fighting like this. He was saying something like that, but I'm in this role. I'm basically a fire chief, and if this is still going in December, I'm still going to be there because the trial is scheduled for December, but they're trying to still go through everything for the trial where everything comes full circle. So I'm curious what's going to happen with that. I mean, are the teams going to refuse? I know NASCAR has a deal with Colleague where they will send their stuff to them, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know. Or it's either that or they're not going to. There's like some sort of exception that NASCAR is willing to give Colleague. So I'm curious what's going to come out of that. And again, like from what it seemed like, a lot of the judges that have been involved in this case and in the Court of Appeals, they kind of are trying to get the teams 2311 and Front Row Motorsports and NASCAR to settle. But from what Denny Hamlin said in a press conference the other day, he said, "We're only settle if we're going to settle. That depends on what NASCAR does." So I'm curious what's going to come out of that. It's something that we are going to be watching very closely up until December when the trial occurs. Trying to think of some of the other things going on in racing. Uh, trying to think of some of the other stories going on. I think what was I going to say? Oh, some of the ARCA entrants. There's some other interesting ones. Jeff Anton was revealed on the pit box. This is good, and he's a former regular in the Busch North series. This is going to be his first ever race in the main series, but he's no stranger to Lime Rock because he has plenty of starts in Busch North, which later became K&N East, which he also has competed at. I think this is going to be his first race in a stock car, to my understanding, since 2011, from what I could gather. So I'm interested into what's going to come out of that. He apparently also has been helping out Mitchell Stapleton, the Stapleton 42 guy who's competing in the Grand National Super Series now. So
Yep, big YouTuber.
yeah, really big YouTuber. Like I hope he eventually gets up there with Cletus. So I'm curious what's going to come out of that. And then in addition, Glenn Reen was also on the pit box. We don't know what team he's going to drive for. Could be Fast Track, could be Maples, could be Rise, could be any of them. I know also we mentioned Alonde. Trying to think of some of the other. I mentioned Annunziata in the 70. 34, that might be Corey Aiken because apparently he comes from a road racing background. It might be him, might not be him. So a lot to think about this weekend. Xfinity, I mean, I know a lot of people are saying it's going to be the Austin Hill show again because home track,
He owns Atlanta Motor
Atlanta.
Speedway at this point.
Yeah, the thing is, no one's figured out how to outduel Childress on these plate tracks that well. So I'm curious if someone's going to be able to figure it out, or if Jesse Love perhaps is going to want to try to duel Austin Hill himself. So I'm curious what's going to happen with that because, a lot of experience in the field, but it doesn't seem like the challenge has been there at the same time because felt like that Hill was just going to run away no matter what because no one was really working with each other. Everyone was fighting for their own gain back in the spring race. And then we also have the truck race. I could see this being a really good battle with like Brent Cruz. Like I don't think Heim is going to win this one.
No,
Like
he'll have to. He could, but I don't see him as a sure
Heim
pick.
Heim is not really a sure pick. I mean, he's probably going to be at the front, but is he really going to be a contender for the win at the same time? Because
How much
hot
sim time has he
had
used?
on,
And that's the real question.
yeah, and he doesn't really have as much road racing experience as some other guys. And I mean, like, I'm curious how Brent Cruz especially does, because we know that this kid is wicked fast on these road courses, especially from his success in Trans Am. And I'm really interested. And Arca, like I see that being a battle between Cruz and Annunziata. Like I think Annunziata's got a good shot against Cruz, and then also what's his name, uh, Alande, considering his road racing background. I mean, he could definitely be up there as a third guy to potentially compete for that win. And Lawless Allen, got people forget he comes from a road racing background. Like when he was running full time for Rayom last year, if you remember, he was running really good at Coda, which is the only truck race on a road race last year. But he still was putting up a really strong run because remember he comes from a road racing background. So Lawless, I think he's going to have a good shot too. So
Oh
we'll see
yeah, I
what
think he will.
happens.
It's gonna be interesting to see. The ARC cars at Lime Rock will be a treat for the fans to watch, and I think it's probably gonna come down to either Brent Cruz or Thomas Annunziata. Maybe maybe Alon Day. He's got
Maybe
3 Euro
Lawless
Series
too.
champion. Lawless Allen.
Robusto has experience in Trans Am too, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe she'll be able to maybe she'll be able to show something. Who knows?
She just came off a top 5 last week at Elko.
And again, don't forget about Dale Quarterly. Like he finished third. He's finished third in the in recent years in the West Series at Sonoma
Portland.
and Portland too. And he also has won at Lime Rock. I'm pretty sure in the Whelen Modified Tour. He won there in I think 2009, if I'm not mistaken. And he's won before in the when it was the K&N Series at Lime Rock as well. So a lot of interesting stories this weekend. And again, I don't think there's anything else that comes to my mind regarding this weekend racing. I
You
mean,
forgot one.
oh, what?
The Spa 24 hours.
Oh yeah,
The last leg of 3 24-hour races in a row this
yep,
month.
yep. We had 24 hours at Le Mans. We also had well, what was the last one? Nürburgring.
Nürburgring. Yep.
Yeah, that was the last one before that. So, what are you thinking going into that one?
Well, this one's going to be even more of a difficult, prediction of any kind because The 24 hours of Nürburgring, yeah, it was part of the GT World or part of the Intercontinental GT Challenge. But it's really more or less a one-off event. Not all the cars are out there to score points; they just go to win the race. And of course, you have to include the fact that you have all kinds of touring cars and GT4s and Porsche Cup cars and the other classes, making up 141 cars.
Yeah, so there's a lot of
This year
factors.
we have 71 cars on the grid. Actually 21, then 12, and 17, and 18, and 7. I believe it adds up to like
Something like
yeah,
that.
76 cars. A record-breaking
Oh, that's record
entry
breaking.
list. Yes, 76 cars are on the entry list, and all of them are GT3s. Let that sink in. All the cars have a shot to win this race outright,
Wow.
and it's just so tough to think who might have the upper hand until the cars get out on track.
And
But
things can easily change because in both Le Mans and Nürburgring, we had disqualifications in both of those races.
yep,
Ferrari, I know, was like I think they were fourth at Nürburgring and they got disqualified. I think.
they were fourth in Le Mans
Oh, it
outright,
was Le Mans. Someone else
and
got
then
disqualified.
at Nürburgring, the car that crossed the line first was penalized 100 seconds for crashing a GT4 car, sending an Aston Martin Vantage on its top,
Yeah.
a Grello 911 car. Fortunately, they elected to go for the win regardless of how far ahead they'll be, and instead of serving the penalty ahead of time, they just chose not to. And the margin of victory, I say that in quotation marks, was about like 5 seconds. So it was an easy win for the BMW, the only BMW in the field for that race, which was the Rover Racing 998. And by the way, they are coming back with the same lineup with Philip Eng, Dan Harper, and Max Hesse. So they're running on a high. I think they
Yeah.
can easily back it up off of how they accomplished that Nürburgring race last weekend.
Yep.
But as far as the championship standings is concerned, um, the driver's championship might change, but it's basically pretty much BMW on their own. Then you have, um, actually, it's better if we go off of the manufacturer's championship. I don't know why I was off the driver's championship. They score the top two finishing manufacturers. BMW, yeah, 1-2 finish at the Bathurst 12-hour. Only one car entered for the 24 hours of Nürburgring. They win the race, 68 points for them, while Mercedes, a fifth and an eighth in Nürburgring, sets them tied for second and third with Porsche at 45 points each, and Ferrari, which lacked a second car at Nürburgring, sits at only 28 points in fourth. So there's 3 races to go. You have Spa, Suzuka, the 1,000-kilometer race, and the 8 hours of Indianapolis in the States to close it. So it's going to be very interesting to see who comes out on top.
It's going to be
Can't tell
very
you right now.
interesting. So, I think that's actually. I don't think there's. I'm trying to think of any other storylines we got going on right now, but nothing really that I can get into my head. But
What about
if that,
Formula One?
yeah, but I mean, I'm not really sure what's. But I don't know about that because it's the same 20 guys on the grid. But I think Austria is one of the shortest. I know Austria, the Red Bull Ring is one of the shortest tracks on the schedule. I mean, it would be really big if Max Verstappen or Yuki Tsunoda were to win for a hometown crowd for Red Bull. So it would be really big if that happened. But I'm curious how things are going to play out, especially with McLaren probably being the best team on the grid now. Uh,
Yeah,
with Piastri, I think leading the championship, and Lando Norris, I think he's second, and then Verstappen's third. I could be wrong. So,
that's correct. 22 points between the top two.
and then I'm curious, is George Russell going to be able to go two in a row? Like, we'll see what happens there. And then you also got to think about the Ferraris. So there's definitely a decent amount of teams who could have a shot going into the Red Bull Ring. Like, it's not like 2023 where everyone would say, "Oh, Max Verstappen's going to win this week." But I think that with it being a hometown advantage for the Red Bull drink company because they're from Austria. I think that would really be a big win for Verstappen, especially if he can pull off a victory.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. And the crowds are always exciting and rowdy over there. It's Verstappen Nation when it's the Austrian Grand Prix, and I I'm just excited to see what goes on between the McLarens because everyone's saying that Lando Norris is falling off. He's not falling off. He had a bad race
No,
in Canada. You know, mistakes happen. He made a mistake, and it
yeah,
costed him. And if it didn't happen, he probably would have been just a few points behind Oscar Piastri in all of this. But guess what? That's racing. Austria's coming up. You have Silverstone. A lot more races to go. Probably, I think we still have half a season remaining. I could be wrong,
yeah,
but
we'll see what comes out of that. So,
yeah, the halfway mark is in 2 races.
yep. So I'm definitely interested in seeing what's going to happen when we get to that point because a lot can definitely change. Like this isn't 2023 or past years where Lewis Hamilton would run away or Verstappen running away. Like this is going to be a close championship battle between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri for sure. So we'll definitely have to see it. And
Well,
maybe Verstappen comes back and wins again. You never know. I think he's sitting third in the standings. So a lot to think about. There's also there was also a video that, speaking of F1, that Valtteri Bottas posted, some hinting at something. Could he perhaps be one of the uh, Cadillac F1 team drivers? Like, could it be him?
who knows? The whole thing with Cadillac F1 is just so exciting because we have no idea who's
Yeah,
who's joining in, and there's so many unknowns with the Cadillac F1 team
yeah,
that it's.
because
I mean, everyone's saying Cadillac could take over, or maybe the rights to Colton Herta, which I don't think is going to happen. Possibly
yeah,
Alex Palou. They're trying to get some American interest from their IndyCar drivers, and at the same time, they want to, give another veteran a shot. What about Sergio Perez? People have been
there's
talking
been
about
talk
Checo
about
lately.
that. I'd be curious about that. Some people have been saying Daniel Ricciardo may come back. Like, I think to start, it would be smart to have at least one veteran on the team. Do they have to do two? Not necessarily. I mean, maybe they pick up someone from Formula Two, like maybe they get another reserve driver out there. Like, like I don't think they're gonna bring over Pillow or Herta because I mean Pillow would probably be really good if he came over. But Pillow, it seems like at this point wants to make himself a name racing in IndyCar. Like, is he going to be the next 7-time champion in racing? Like, I think he wants to go for it first before anything.
Yeah, and he's got plenty of years ahead of him. Don't forget, Alex Palou is only 27 years old.
Yeah,
He's got a lot of racing left in him.
he's got a lot, and I mean, consider and Scott Dixon, who's also a 7-time champion in IndyCar, he's still running really well at I think 45 now, 44. So like, Hello definitely has a long ways ahead of him because Dixon won his last title I think when he was 40, 41.
Just on the brink of 40 back in
So
2020.
So it's something to really consider in the Cadillac side of things. But is that everything, or is there maybe something
And that
else in
covers
race?
it all.
I think that's going to be it. So, uh, I know this week, this it ended up being Joe here. I think something that's going to be happening a lot more in the future, and I think I implied this last week, is that we're going to start to have a lot of rotating third guests. Third people coming on. Brody should be back next week, but there's a very good chance that we will have a rotation of third people on. So it's possible you'll see Joe on again in the future. I'd love to have him on again, especially because got a lot of talk. No shade to you, Brody, but he's got a lot that he can say about IndyCar than you would. No shade, Brody, but you know, because when we talk about IndyCar a lot, he doesn't have a lot to say. So it's something that I definitely would love to get you on again, especially as we get more and more into the IndyCar season. So we'll definitely be. So I think we're going to be rotating people like for that third slot. We were going to have someone else on again as well this week, but unfortunately they couldn't make it on. We will try to have them on as the third guest next week. So we'll see what happens. But next week, Brody should be back discussing Atlanta going into Sonoma. No, Chicago. It's not Sonoma
Right,
next.
Chicago and
Yeah,
then Sonoma.
yeah, that's right. So a lot to think about. And I I think that that's going to probably do it. Once again, my name is Adam Relkin, joined by this week by
Joseph Landy-Pavlon.
again. Thank you guys for watching. We will be back. I will be back next week, hopefully. And again, have a great night, everyone. All right, let me cut to.